Another Chapman import was Goulet's compatriot Reggie McNamara. A farm boy with a strong back and an appetite for hard work, McNamara established his promise in the way he captured the 1913 Sydney Six. Soon after McNamara immigrated to Newark, he set 5 world records from 1 to 25 miles. He won sixes in Buffalo, Kansas City, and Chicago twice by the time he added the Garden's 1918 six-day to his growing list. With 6 different partners, he won 7 Garden sixes against the best international talent through 1932. Among them was the wild-haired Italian Gaetano Belloni, winner of the Tour of Italy. McNamara and Belloni also won the 1929 Chicago Six.
Reggie McNamara won six-day races in Australia, in Sydney, Australia, and Melbourne. He also won a half-dozen six-days in Madison Square Garden and others in Cleveland and Toronto and many other cities. He also went to Paris, and he won the Paris six-day race. So he won six-day races on 3 continents.
McNamara's triumphs were fraught with near disasters, though. In the final 15 minutes of the Garden's December 1926 six, he and his partner, Pietro Lenari of Italy, were about to trade places on the boards in the heat of a jam when they went down in a spectacular high-speed crash. Both were knocked unconscious. McNamara was the first to regain his senses. He staggered to his bicycle. He told the doctor, "If my legs are all right, I'm going back in." He remounted his bike in time to give chase and protect their lead to win. Afterward, he discovered he'd cracked 3 ribs.
Probably one of the toughest sons of guns on the track. Could take a beating, get up and race, break bones, finish a race, take a spill, get up and race, never let anything stop him.
European promoters clamored for McNamara. He and Harry Horan of Secaucus, New Jersey, shipped across the Atlantic. They won the six-day in Berlin. Next up, McNamara teamed with the Belgian Emile Ertz of the renowned cycling family to win the Paris six-day in January 1927. McNamara raced in cities throughout Germany, Belgium, Switzerland, England, and Italy. After competing in Milan, he made a pilgrimage to Rome to meet in the Vatican with Pope Pius XI. His Holiness asked McNamara to come back for a second visit. The Pope then engaged him in a private conversation about racing in the sixes. Racers averaged 2 falls daily. They treated high-speed tumbles as occupational hazards. Tires blew out. Fatigued or distracted cyclists overlapped their front wheel with the rear wheel of a rider in front, a chronic cause of crashes. All it took was a fraction of a second, and down they went, bodies cascading over the boards.
I was in New York, where I bust my nose, hit, and cut my lip. Actually, what happened, somebody in front of me blew a tire, and I ran right into him, and I went head down on the track, So that's about the worst one I had. I had spills all the time. There was nothing new with me, They always say, guys used to say I used to get paid that there's a spill out there, but I never got paid for doing that, It's just that I'd get myself in trouble out there and try to put my bike someplace where it wasn't supposed to be,
Abrasions were common after falling and sliding at speed on the boards or forced into barrel rolls. Like bullfighters, racers reasoned that they were too tough to wear helmets. Some riders wore thin leather gloves cut off at the fingers. Gloves allowed them to grab the front tire like a brake so a rider's partner could take over.
I went through the fence 4 times. I had the worst accident, Dead Man's Curve in Madison Square Garden. Douglas Fairbanks and his wife put up $100 for the sprint. And I'm coming around this bike rider, and he lost control trying to keep me from coming around. And right through the, I don't remember it, but they tell me I went right up the highest part of the turn in Madison Square Garden, broke right through the 2x4s, and dropped about 20 feet, 24 feet, and out for 4 hours. But you don't remember those, so it doesn't bother you.
So riding the Buffalo race, and I know I'm getting near the end of the line, you know what I mean? In fact, I was looking for an out, something to do. I'm going to ride a good race. I'm going to go to New York. I'm going to win if I possibly can, and that's the end of it, see? So we gained a lap. I was riding with Bill Grimm. We gained a lap. And I'm riding up to the field, and I go up around the top, but I thought, I'm going to show off, if you put it that way. You know what I mean? And I don't know whether I hit the fence, whether I hit somebody's wheel. I really don't know what happened. But I did know that I was seriously hurt. By that I mean, I don't mean fatally, but I mean, I knew about what I had. I knew not to let the trainers, believe it or not, that's an animal instinct, I guess. I knew enough not to let them, Tommy Grimm and Bully Zip, pick me up and do anything with me. And we had one of the finest orthopedic surgeons, Dr. Cleary. He was a fan at the race that night. He saw it. He was there with his son. He went down and offered his services and took over. And that probably had a lot to do with me walking again. They probably had a lot to do with it.
Trainers administered to cyclists like cutmen working in a boxer's corner. Trainers raided drugstores to stock their medicine bags with witch hazel for rubbing muscles, bandages and plasters of all sizes, eye cups, spirits of ammonia or smelling salts, adhesive tape, iodine, sponges, ice bags, yards of cotton swabs for dabbing blood, sea salt, Vaseline, and forceps to remove splinters. Trainers applied first aid with medicinal ointments and bandages. The final days of sixes offered spectators a hearty bandage brigade. Trainers did everything to keep racers going.
Being busted up, and the only concern, I can only speak for my dad, was getting well as quick enough to get back on the bike so he can start training for the next race. Because you didn't have a contract like a yearly contract. You rode a race for 1 week. And then you're out of work to the next race. So if you can't make the next race, then you're going to miss a big payday.
When a cyclist broke a bone, fractured collarbones are the most frequent cycling injury, and was hospitalized, his partner would raid around to join another orphaned warrior. Then they formed a new reconstituted team. They received the same number of laps as the last place team and received half of each of their respective team's points. Meanwhile, racers with broken bones paid their own medical bills.
Well, I'll tell you, if you work the race all week, or maybe even a couple of days a week, you see so many falls, it don't mean anything anymore, unless a guy dies, and which is very rare.
McNamara put it this way: what else can you expect from a job like ours? If you can't take it, you should try your hand at something else. This is a man's affair.